They ignored the fact that you got chartered flights because of this girl. They ignored the fact that ratings were going through the roof because of this girl. Instead, they resented it because they said, yo, we were doing stuff long before Caitlin Clark got here, and y'all wasn't paying attention then. But now the young white girl comes along, and y'all want to sit up there and shower all of this praise and all of this attention that was earned before she ever came along. The resentment is understandable, but it's not about Caitlin Clark. It's about what she represents. My point is, grow up.
Just when it seemed like the WNBA was starting to find its stride and poised to capitalize on Caitlin Clark's rise to fame and financial success, they stumbled, figuratively and literally. Caitlin Clark, the league's biggest ratings draw, has now ended up on the injury list.
The Indiana Fever announced that star Caitlin Clark will be out at least 2 weeks with a left quad strain. Clark reported some pain in her leg Saturday after the team's loss to the New York Liberty. She subsequently underwent an MRI and was diagnosed with the strain on Monday.
Now basketball fans are losing it. Talk shows are in chaos, and Stephen A. Smith is practically exploding with rage. His fury is aimed at WNBA bullies, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, and especially Angel Reese, who still believes she's the main attraction. If you're siding with Stephen A., drop a baby goat over baby giraffe in the comments. Let's go.
Clark was the WNBA's Rookie of the Year last season and a first-team All-WNBA selection. So far, she's averaging 19 points and the league-leading 9.3 assists through 4 games this season. I could give a damn about that last part. I don't care about her leading the league in assists. I don't care about the points that she's averaging because I already know that the young lady can ball. She is special. What I'm interested in is what somebody tweeted me and asked about earlier today that I want to show you right now. Put this tweet up, please, so our audience can see it here. At 4th Gen Bucci, Bucci, right? Stephen A. Smith. Can the WNBA keep itself afloat while CC, as in Caitlin Clark, is out?
Caitlin Clark, the same player who transformed women's basketball from a niche interest into primetime entertainment, is now sidelined with a quad strain, out for at least 2 weeks. That's 2 long weeks without the league's biggest star, while the WNBA tries to pretend everything's okay. In reality, the product is falling apart fast, much like one of Angel Reese's missed layups. Imagine the league's brightest star stuck on the bench in street clothes as TV ratings take a nosedive. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe my channel for more awesome content. Thanks.
Unfortunately, though, the celebration in the WNBA, it was cut short yesterday afternoon as WNBA players learned the harsh lesson: be careful what you wish for. Headline at the New York Post. Caitlin Clark sidelined with Indiana Felines announcing shock injury. Keyword: shock. This injury was shocking, but not for reasons that you may think.
And of course, the first to completely lose it was none other than Stephen A. Smith, ESPN's go-to hype machine. While most voices around the league offered polite, diplomatic reactions, Stephen A. went full Defcon 1. He came in like a human Molotov cocktail, lighting up every bad take and poor decision that led to this moment. And let's be real, someone had to say it. Everyone else is out here acting like Caitlin Clark isn't the reason their paychecks cleared.
Fanatics also reported a 100% increase in sales for WNBA specific merchandise. It started with Caitlin Clark. And so now that we know all of this, and we've known that for months, now we get to turn around and look and see what exactly is it that the league will do knowing that she's out for the next 2 weeks. I'm not saying I know for sure what's going to happen, but I have an idea.
Stephen A. didn't just speak up. He took the MIC like he'd been waiting months to expose the league's missteps. While WNBA execs were off pretending Caitlin Clark isn't the one keeping the lights on, he came armed with receipts. It was like watching a math class taught with fireworks. He broke it down so plainly. Oh, you think the league can survive without Caitlin Clark? Cool story. Bro, check the numbers and try not to cry.
Thanks to Clark, Indiana led the league in attendance both at home and on the road. The Fever averaged 17,035 fans at home and over 15,000 on the road. 4 teams moved home games to bigger arenas when Indiana came to town to accommodate more fans. That's about Caitlin Clark. How do we know this? Attendance for the entire league was up nearly 50% last year. According to data from across the timeline, and Indiana led all teams with an average attendance of 17,035. That was up 319% from the year early.
Let's break down those numbers, shall we? Games featuring Caitlin Clark this season are averaging 1.178 million viewers. Without her, just 394,000. That's not a dip, it's a free fall off a cliff. Viewership drops by nearly 3 times when she's not on the court. Yet you've still got players like Angel Reese questioning why Clark gets more attention. Maybe it's because Caitlin doesn't treat the basketball like a bowling pin and actually gives fans a reason to tune in.
Find out. We don't know yet, but I'm going to be really interested in seeing, Molly, what kind of effect this has on the WNBA's ratings. Because if for some reason there is a precipitous drop-off, then everybody needs to stand down and recognize the fact that the speculation or the assertions and assumptions about her being the golden goose is validated.
We'll see. Nothing's certain yet, but I'm definitely going to be watching closely, Molly, to see what kind of impact this has on the WNBA's ratings. Because if there's a significant drop, then everyone needs to take a step back and acknowledge that all the speculation, assumptions, and claims about Caitlin Clark being the league's golden goose, completely validated.
You asked me about Caitlin. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it.
Okay.
Right? So if Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. So is it truly a broken record?
Stephen A. didn't just wake up angry. This was months in the making, fueled by watching the WNBA squander opportunity after opportunity. He's seen Cheryl Swoops throwing more shade than a beach umbrella, acting like Caitlin Clark isn't single-handedly pulling the league into the spotlight. And of course, Angel Reese couldn't resist making every moment feel like her audition for America's Next jealous teammate.
I noticed when you're asking about Caitlin a lot, you bring up other rookies as well.
No league's ever about one player. That player could get hurt or whatever. So I think it's just to give recognition that in sports, people watch for compelling content and rivalries. And you can't do that alone as one person.
Then there's Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, whose entire strategy around Caitlin Clark could basically be summed up as, thanks for the ratings, I guess. It's like finding a genie in a bottle and wishing for a slightly bigger bottle. Now that Clark is sidelined, Stephen A. is essentially shouting, "I told you so" from the rooftops. And honestly, he's earned that right.
Became the first rookie with at least 25 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds in a playoff game. That was Caitlin Clark. Became the 4th different rookie to play all 40 minutes in a playoff game. That was her. I'm looking at other things. 6 different league television partners. This is last year. This is last season. Because this is Caitlin Clark that we're talking about. 6 different league television partners set viewership records this year, that year, her rookie year, for its highest viewed WNBA game. Do you know every one of those games included the Indiana Fever?
He even dropped some classic Stephen A. wisdom. If this is the magnetic traction that draws viewers to the WNBA, and her absence proves it, then everyone needs to stand down and ride the wave. Translation? Stop resisting. Caitlin is the show. Either get on board or get left behind, playing in half-empty arenas while fans sit there wondering where all the excitement went.
Rising tide lifts all boats. And if this is the magnetic traction that draws viewers to the WNBA, and her absence over the next 2 weeks due to that quad strain is providing further evidence of that, then everybody needs to accept it, stand down, and ride that wave. I'm going to be really interested in seeing how the ratings are going to look without her over the next 2 weeks. Let's make sure we come back and ask me this exact same question after she's been gone for those 2 weeks.
Let's rewind, because the lead up to this mess has been a case study in how not to manage a league. Caitlin Clark's debut game this season against the Sky drew a record-breaking 2.7 million viewers, the most-watched WNBA game on ESPN ever. It wasn't a fluke. It was the arrival of a generational star. She brought the receipts, massive viewership, sold-out jerseys, more than half the league combined. So how did the WNBA respond? With a marketing push? Widespread promotion? Nope. We got bland, cookie-cutter press releases so generic they could have been written by Angel Reese herself. It felt like the league was afraid to admit one player was doing more for their brand than a decade of collective effort.
We know what she brings to the table. But people wanted to hate because why? You had a bunch of players in this league that watched this young white girl come along and take the league by storm. And they resented it because they saw the marketing prowess that she had. They ignored the fact that you got chartered flights because of this girl. They ignored the fact that ratings were going through the roof because of this girl. Instead, they resented it because they said, yo, we were doing stuff long before Caitlin Clark got here. And y'all wasn't paying attention then. But now the young white girl comes along and y'all want to sit up there and shower all of this praise and all of this attention that was earned before she ever came along. The resentment is understandable, but it's not about Caitlin Clark. It's about what she represents. My point is, grow up.
Stephen A. saw it all unfolding. Caitlin Clark's star rising while the league quietly tried to downplay it, and veteran players eyeing her like she just grabbed the last slice of pizza. And now? The WNBA is in full-blown panic mode, scrambling to fill the massive void left by the only player who can draw an extra million viewers just by lacing up her shoes. That's the real issue. Caitlin Clark was never just another top draft pick. She was the WNBA's golden ticket. But instead of putting it in a frame and building around it, they tried to minimize it. Now that ticket's temporarily off the table, and suddenly they are realizing what they had. Meanwhile, Stephen A. is just sitting back like, I told y'all, don't build a castle and act surprised when the queen moves in.
Look, I think Stephen A. is 100% correct on this. At the end of the day, you already see people actually saying, hey, I'm not watching for 2 weeks. I'm not tuning in for 2 weeks. And it's really bad news for the Mystics and the Sky because both of those teams moved those games to big arenas. So it's like now that she's not playing, what is that attendance going to look like? The viewership, right? The viewership is going to plummet. I already know. Because the majority of the people that's watching the Indiana Fever wants to see Caitlin Clark. And sad to say it, a lot of them only want to see Caitlin Clark. They don't really care about the entire team.
Bottom line, the WNBA had a golden goose and treated her like just another bird. Stephen A. isn't just mad, he's delivering the hard truth the league needs to hear. Caitlin Clark is the draw, the face of the league, the reason sponsors are picking up the phone. And if she's not protected, appreciated, and elevated, the WNBA won't just lose a player, it'll lose its moment. Stephen A. has been the lone voice of reason in a room full of noise. While others tiptoe around egos and cling to outdated narratives, he's been calling it straight since the moment Clark stepped onto a WNBA court, bringing with her a wave of attention, ticket sales, and viewership the league had never seen. He's been her loudest advocate, not out of hype, but because unlike the jealous whispers from a few former players who take Clark's success as a personal insult, Stephen A. actually recognizes value when he sees it. There's real resentment out there, he said, and now, more than ever, it's clear he was right.
Everybody was moving Caitlin Clark games to bigger facilities because everyone was selling tickets. There were ratings. It was a ratings bonanza. Now with Caitlin Clark not playing, what do? Well, when you change your situs, guess what? You can't change it back.
Yep. The tickets are literally half the price, and there are entire sections of the stadium that have not sold any tickets.
Now the prophecy is playing out in real time. Caitlin Clark isn't just missing some throwaway Tuesday night game against a forgettable team. She's out of marquee matchups, the kind of games ESPN dreams about. Her highly anticipated rematch with Angel Reese? Gone. Multiple primetime national broadcasts? Cancelled. The financial hit is instant and painful. This isn't just Indiana losing a star, it's the WNBA losing its entire gravitational center. Clark isn't just putting up points, she's the reason people buy tickets, tune in, and drop cash on overpriced jerseys. Without her, the Indiana Fever suddenly looks like every other team, struggling to stay relevant in a league that just watched its biggest draw vanish from the spotlight.
2.2 million average viewers tuned in to watch Caitlin Clark and the Fever take on the Liberty.
Peaking at 3.2 million viewers is crazy for the WNBA, even for the Fever.
Became the 6th most watched WNBA regular season or playoff game.
What really has Stephen A. fuming, what's got him absolutely cooking, is that all of this was preventable. Sure, injuries happen in sports. But when a league allows its most valuable player to get slammed, hacked, elbowed, and borderline assaulted game after game with zero accountability, that's not bad luck. That's negligence. The hits Caitlin Clark has taken this season wouldn't look out of place in an NFL highlight reel. And yet, the WNBA's response? A collective shrug. Part of the game, they say. Meanwhile, Stephen A.'s probably at home breaking remotes, yelling, "Protect her." And who could blame him? He's watching the one player propping up the entire league get treated like just another rookie instead of the generational talent she is. It's not just disappointing, it's straight up malpractice.
She came into the league last year with no break whatsoever between the college game and the pro game and did her thing. Ended up as an all-star, ended up being fourth in the league in MVP voting, was the clear winner for Rookie of the Year. No competition whatsoever in that regard when it was really all said and done. We know what she brings to the table. But people wanted to hate because why? You had a bunch of players in this league that watched this young white girl come along and take the league by storm. And they resented it because they saw the marketing prowess that she had.
And here's the kicker. The numbers don't lie. Even in a loss to the Liberty, Caitlin Clark pulled in 2.22 million viewers on CBS. That's the second highest WNBA rating ever on the network. For a regular season game, that kind of viewership is unheard of. But now, with her sidelined, those numbers are about to fall off a cliff. Imagine the marketing XX trying to pitch Headspace now. Well, we had 2 million viewers, but our star's injured. Sponsors are watching. Networks are watching. Everyone sees what's coming, and so does Stephen A., who's already got the receipts ready for the inevitable ratings nosedive. And you can bet he's going to remind the WNBA of it. Loudly, every step of the way.
Higher television ratings, higher attendance figures. Ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't come courtesy of a league. It comes courtesy of the players that play in the league. And in her case, she was the most popular, which means she could have helped your bottom line, which means you should have seen that from day one and maximized it. But you didn't do it.
What makes all of this sting even more is the simple truth. It didn't have to be this way. If the league had just acknowledged what was obvious from day one, that Caitlin Clark is the engine powering this entire operation, things could have played out very differently. Instead, they downplayed her rise, treated her success like a fluke, or worse, something to be embarrassed about. All while Clark was packing arenas, spiking TV ratings, and completely transforming the way people viewed women's basketball. And now that she's sidelined, all those voices who dismissed her impact are about to learn the hard way just how wrong they were.
You literally cannot make this up. When she's not playing, ticket prices, merchandise sales plummet. Viewership declines when she is not suited up in uniform. The numbers do not lie, guys. Caitlin Clark is the biggest box office attraction in the WNBA, period. Facts over feeling.
Clark wasn't just good for the league, she was revolutionizing it. People who never gave the WNBA a second thought were suddenly tuning in. Entire families were planning their summer vacations around Indiana Fever games. But now that she's sidelined, those same fans are already starting to check out. Stephen A. gets it. He sees what's really at stake here. This isn't about a pulled muscle or a minor injury, it's about whether the league is smart enough to recognize and protect a once-in-a-generation star before it's too late. He knows what WNBA leadership seems unwilling to admit, that Caitlin Clark is the linchpin between the league's struggling past and its potentially explosive future. Without her, they are right back to begging networks for airtime and praying fans show up. Caitlin isn't just another player, she's a walking marketing machine, a highlight reel, and a franchise in sneakers. And now that she's out, the bridge she built between women's basketball and the mainstream? It's temporarily closed for repairs.
Became the first rookie with at least 25 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds in a playoff game. That was Caitlin Clark. Became the fourth different rookie to play all 40 minutes in a playoff game. That was her. I'm looking at other things. 6 different league television partners. This is last year. This is last season. Because this is Caitlin Clark that we're talking about. 6 different league television partners set viewership records that year, her rookie year, for its highest viewed WNBA game. Do you know every one of those games included the Indiana Fever?
And let's be real, this entire situation could have been avoided. With the amount of cheap shots, flagrant fouls, and borderline assaults Caitlin Clark has endured, you'd think the league would have stepped in to protect its most valuable asset. But instead, crickets. They let her take hit after hit while hiding behind vague statements and weak, symbolic penalties. Now, Stephen A is standing there, bullhorn in hand, shouting "I told you so," while the WNBA scrambles to contain the fallout. Clark's fan base is livid. Many are already pledging to boycott games until she's back on the court. Social media is flooded with posts from fans saying they are done watching the WNBA until Clark returns. And honestly, who can blame them? If you started watching because of Caitlin Clark, why would you stick around when she's not there? Watching a WNBA game without her feels like ordering a pizza and getting handed a salad instead. The excitement's gone. The flavor's gone. The one thing that made it special? Missing. You said.